on the handles as well? Or there? It was gonna be too.
Oh no!
Too much for this. No.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of our RAW Barbell Club Coaches Corner. As you can see, we're always on heavy resistance because you can never stop working your legs.
This is where you get the volume in. It's not squats, it's not leg presses,
Yeah.
It's this Avanti innovation and exercise machine.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Yeah, it's just branding. Sponsor us.
Sponsors. But this is going to be a segment that we try to do semi-regularly.
Yep.
And what we'll do is we'll tackle a topic or maybe even a discussion that we're having within the gym.
Yep.
And I think today is a great time to bring out my love for box squats.
Excellent.
Even though that's not what we were planning on discussing.
But that is something that has been discussed ad nauseum recently in the gym.
Yes, to the dismay of most of our members.
And
care so little about it.
33% of our coaches.
So, in our beginner program. So first off, how often do you see me programming box squats?
It's only beginners and some mesos.
Yes. All right. So it's not like you're seeing me do box squats with every single athlete that we have.
No.
And by box squats, we're talking about like wide stance, sitting back,
West side
style box squats.
Yep.
And we're not. It's not like we're loading them with like bands and chains and all of that.
Yes.
But it's become a topic because you've seen that in our beginner weightlifting program, there has been a couple of athletes that have those, and part of the reason it's there is just to teach them just every single thing that they might encounter, so that in the future, if it's programmed, we don't have to go over it again.
Yeah.
Right? But can you go through your issues with the box squat for me first, and then I'll see if I can give some sort of counter argument?
Yeah, there's a few reasons. As in, box squat in general, as a GPP exercise, I don't have any issue with it. Like, all exercises are just tools for a whatever given purpose, and if like presented as GPP, these people are just gonna like gain experience in the different like exercises. I don't have an issue with it. Like, I think there's better things, but if it's novelty and just being exposed to things, there's no issue with it.
Yeah.
But again, you said it's an Olympic weightlifting program, so has to be thought, if it's a GPP part of the Olympic weightlifting, it's fine, but it's also an opportunity cost of like, could this be better spent nailing their high bar back squat, front squats, teaching a bounce? Like, it's more, if it's a Olympic weightlifting, the West Side style box squat has little to any carryover outside of GPP.
Yeah. Okay. I see that caveat, and I will throw this at you. One big thing being that when I wrote the program and wrote Olympic weightlifting on the front, really it's a beginner supertotal program.
Yeah.
They do have bench press, they do have deadlifts, they have sumo deadlifts.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yep.
But then on the other side, why is there no low bar back squat in the program? Why do I fail to teach that at all?
Yeah.
Being as specific.
Yeah, it's just, I think low bar back squat would be honestly worse if it's Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah,
because,
but as a supertotal program.
Definitely. It would, it's so far in GPP that you could replace it with almost most exercises that are hip loaded and be considerate as specific in this domain, really. Like, it's so far away from Olympic weightlifting that you could be like, okay, sled drags for leg development and hip development. That would be equal, like that would be you could swap those two out rather than an actual high bar back squat.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my rationale for one, teaching the box squat, the wide stance box squat, as well as having it included in an Olympic weightlifters program.
Yep.
This is the actual utility I find in it. Okay. The first being is, I am huge into being able to disassociate like if we were to spread, you know, upper limb, lower limb, torso, I'm huge into being able to disassociate them through movement.
Yep.
So it is much easier to disassociate the lower body from the torso on a box squat than it is on a squat, only because there is that resting portion
Yep.
in the bottom, you know, where there is not really that resting portion at the bottom of a squat that is comfortable enough to have some sort of technical change.
Okay.
Does that make sense so far?
That makes sense. That is useful in a beginner program, and especially under the eye of a coach.
Yes.
I would be nervous to implement it in a beginner program when they're by themselves,
Yes.
just due to interpretation of the box squat.
Exactly.
Too many people mess it up, and it's like pause, how long to pause, taking the weight off, leaving the weight, dropping onto the box, what height of the box.
Yes.
There's so many other
Variables.
variables that are very easily controlled by a coach.
Yeah.
But in a beginner program, if you go box squat,
And
this is how
but
you do it.
this is a fundamentals program that is delivered by a coach.
Yes.
Right.
But sometimes the mesocycles, it's just
Yes.
box squat. There's too many. Like,
There is, but then the squat has too many variables as well.
But if they're doing a high bar back squat,
yeah.
that is they're refining their technique. Like, this is a fundamental movement for almost all programs. Where
All of our strength programs, not all programs. in
not
general.
all programs in general, but if we're thinking powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting,
Yeah.
even strongman to a degree, they're going to be doing high bar back squats, or at least know their appropriate form.
Maybe we should call this nerd talk instead of the coach's
Perhaps.
corner.
It would be more relevant, but we're in a corner
Yeah.
and we're coaches.
Yep.
It can just be the subtitle.
The subtitle.
Yeah.
No, I see that as well as a like a potential
Yeah.
problem to solve for. And again, I think adequate teaching of the movement
Yeah.
prior to it being delivered in a mesocycle would solve that easily.
Yes.
You know, like a video that explains exactly what we're looking for, the points of performance. So
Yeah.
we are looking for, you know, a 90-degree angle of the hip to the floor, perpendicular hip, femur to the floor. We're looking at that 90-degree angle of the knee. We're looking at, as you sit down onto the box,
Yeah.
the spine being in as neutral a position as possible, so not overarched, not too much into like a hollow position.
Yep.
So we don't want hyperextension and we don't want flexion of the spine.
Yeah, I can follow that.
And then, like, as you come off the box, we're looking for the hips to lead the movement, not anywhere from the thorax.
I can pay that.
So like, if we taught it better,
Yeah.
which we teach it well,
Yeah, we teach it well.
but like
it's not
you're worried about the utility in it being in a mesocycle, potentially on one of our online athletes programs.
And also, it's an opportunity cost thing again. Like, would that
time be better spent
time be
doing
better
it.
spent and fatigue be better spent doing just a high bar back squat?
Okay.
So like, or like if you're saying, oh, it's to develop hips, would it be better just to be doing a sumo deadlift or a deadlift? Like, these are more specific movements that in a way can like take the main points of a lot of the, besides the disassociation,
Yes.
a lot of the growth and aspects of it and like reasons other people tout it can be like easily covered.
Espoused in like
Yeah.
just high bar back squat.
High bar back squat,
Yeah.
or like
Or
a
box
specific
squatting, like in a more specific way
Pin
to
squat.
your.
A pin squat would be an excellent way because it's like a lot of people that like
And,
say
and so, like, explain what a pin
oh
squat
yeah,
is for
absolutely.
someone.
So I'll go through the whole thing. Like a box squat, some of the people say it's good because you're able to come to a complete stop and like completely disrupt the stretch shortening, the bounce out of the bottom. Sometimes they're using a pin squat, which is just loading the pins up or safeties in a squat rack, coming to that point, coming to a complete stop in your, like, identical to your back squat position, otherwise it's not a proper pin squat, and then having it turn around and having only concentric force. Well, that's what people like to say.
Yes, and so the major advantage of that is that one, also, when you do a box squat, there's the compressive force of the barbell through your spine, but then there's the double compressive force of when you land on the box,
Yep.
the box is pushing up against you too. So you can, like, that's where you're worried about like potential injuries and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like
Where
the
you
glass
don't have
table
that.
analogy is awesome. Like when it's like reinforced, like you are touching it like paper. No. Like when it's like touch it like paper, you're sitting onto a glass table. That's excellent, and that's really enforceable when a coach is watching.
Yeah.
But especially when you start loading it, and you're just like, oh, work up to your heavy set of 5 for box squats. Like, it's not like I don't trust the athletes, but if they're going for a heavy set of 5, I think that might be a slippage that would happen very easily.
Yeah, I see that.
And again, like, yeah, pin squat is covering that aspect and specific to like a high bar back squat or a powerlifting squat. It doesn't have to change.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing a completely different movement.
Yes.
It's specific to your sport.
Okay. Now, the next reason that I would program a wide stance box squat is because I do see a carryover from that to the high bar squat in certain cases.
Okay.
So, let's take Zofia for an example.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started coaching her, she could not squat to depth.
Yep.
She found it very difficult, and one of the reasons that we found was difficult was like an inability or restriction in her hips to move through certain ranges of motion.
Yeah.
So actually working on that that wide stance position,
Yeah.
to parallel, actually allowed us to later on
Develop depth
develop
further down.
develop the depth further down. Because we know that, one, strength and depth is, gained, plus or minus, 15 degrees, right?
Yeah. What I'd like to say to that is...
Why didn't she sumo deadlift instead?
No, that's like you're working on the squat. Like,
Yeah.
you are a coach, you found an appropriate response and something
Yeah.
that would help, and you went with it. It's a tool. Like, there's nothing wrong with tools. It's how they're implemented. So, you high bar back squat to a box, west side style, was the appropriate tool for this method. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Like, you got the desired result out of it, so there's no issue with it. So, if you're using it and
For a reason.
So
So your issue would be me programming it for programming its sake,
yes.
which I have also done.
So that's the issue. Like,
But I don't do anymore.
that's fine. But like, yeah, my issue is it's not a supplement for a specific movement.
Yes.
It is a tool for specific cases.
Okay. So
and the learning.
So would you be okay, for example, and this would be my last argument for the box squat,
Yep.
because I love them now, is like, let's say someone has high bar back squats and in their program, and then their squat accessory was a box squat.
Yeah.
Would you be fine with that?
Of course, but like
But what you wouldn't be
I
fine
would
with
be
is removing
a
back
high bar
squats
back
from
squat
their
from
block
exactly.
and
you,
just replace
you
it
have a
with
you have a
box
power lifter and they're in a strength block and we're like, okay, box squats.
Yeah.
Like,
But what if we reverse band them?
completely changed my opinion 180 all the way up to the peak. I don't even want you to do powerlifting squats your style
Yeah.
leading into your comp. You just assume that you're like at your max fitness, ready to squat some PBs. Like, it's the only assumption that's reasonable to make. But like, perfect. My thing would be, you have your back squat as your main exercise. If it's GP, and again, if you're in GPP block, that can be your main exercise.
Yeah.
You're just out and just trying out new things. I'm seeing how I feel. It feels good. I like doing it. Go for it. Doesn't matter. If you're trying to be specific, have your main lifts, and then like do it and see how it goes. Like, track your progress. Like, if you did a block of front squats with your back squats and you're trying to work on your quads, and you're like, okay, estimated increase of 2.5 kilos, felt okay, knees got a bit crappy throughout it. Like, that's okay, you know what you did for that block. Go back, then you're like, okay, I'm going to do high bar back squats again, and my secondary lift is going to be the box squat, west side style. Okay, like, did it, estimated increase of like 5 kilos, knees felt great the entire time, had a great block. okay, you take that note and you do it again another time.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that it's just a tool. Some people might respond massively well to it. Like, some people just like, hips and adductors in this range of motion are shitty, and that increase like led to massive gains. Sweet. Like, there's no problem with that. There's never a problem with that. It's just implementation for implementation's sake over a specific movement when it's necessary. Yeah.
Okay.
Not that great.
I think that sort of gets us to an understanding.
Yep.
So I think we've healed a rift between us.
I hope so. The bikes help.
The bikes do help. Guys, if you enjoy this type of content, if you want to weigh in on this box squat debate and add your own thoughts, please leave those comments below. If you want to hear more from us, please ask us your questions for us to discuss. This is a lot of fun for us to do, this short form style of podcasting, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
and also, Coach's Corner or Nerd Talk? Which one?
yeah, which one do you prefer?
Or other options. We're open to
Yeah.
We're open for it.
Yeah, two coaches on a bike who
like
two coaches.
Avanti, sponsor us. What's going on?
I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching or listening. Let's go.
Excellent.